Hello, everyone, and welcome to Love Chat with the Love Twins. It's Michelle here with you today. I'm so glad to be here with you because tonight we're going to be diving into a skill that once you master it, it really does transform all of your relationships, including your intimate relationships. So I know that some of you are joining in. I want to give you a few seconds to do that. And again, remember that we're here every Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So make sure that you put it on your calendar so that you can go ahead and be here. You'll probably receive an email and a text reminding you, but this is something that you want to make part of your transformational journey. So every week we're here giving you some coaching and training based on the topics that you've written to us and told us that you would like either coaching and training on, or you're dealing with a situation. I can tell you that right now, the topic we're going to be talking about today, I have been coaching 3 women all day on. And so the topic we're going to be talking about, and this powerful skill that transforms all of your relationships, including your intimate relationships, is powerful communication. So communication is one of the most essential skills to have in your relationship because it really does it sets the tone for everything. So if you're in a relationship and you tend to be reactive or you tend to be defensive, then what that does is it creates barriers to intimacy, to connection, to real partnership in a relationship. So we're going to be discussing some practical skills, some practical tools that are going to empower you to express your needs so that you're able to remain calm and productive in your conversations, so you can build trust while staying true to yourself, so that you are able to experience in reality, in real time, the experience of your love vision, that relationship of your dreams that you've always wanted. Now, if you're someone who grew up in an environment where communication wasn't something that was effective, there was a lot of yelling. I mean, I grew up in a home where there was a lot of yelling, there was a lot of criticizing, there was a lot of name calling. And what happened is that even though I knew it didn't feel good, I ended up subconsciously taking on those patterns. And that is what can happen. And I played those patterns out in my friendships with my sisters, in my relationships with my boyfriends, in my first marriage. And it wasn't until I had my own personal transformation, which is why we do this work, the heart work. And this is why we have the programs that we have and the events that we have, so that you can experience a transformation. Just because you grew up seeing it one way, or even as an adult, you've been doing it one way, it doesn't mean that's the only way you can do it. There is a choice. Now, you'll have heard us say that it does require some deeper heart work. Today, we're going to just give you some skills that you can start working on until you come to our next and final event of the year, which we're going to be sending out information on, and I'll give you more information on. You want to make sure that you block this date off so that you're there. It's going to be on December 17th, and it's going to be at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. You want to make sure that you hold that date. Hold that date, because that's a day where you're going to be able to create what your love life is going to look like in 2025. Okay, so I'll give you some more information on that. But right now, let's focus on what powerful communication is. So you can go ahead and type in the chat, what is powerful communication to you? Because it might mean something different to you than it does to me. So go ahead and type it in the chat. When you hear the words powerful communication, what are some of the things, thoughts, ideas, words that come up for you when you think about that? And why this is important is because what you're doing is you're seeing what's already there in the space for you. Some people might say it's respect, or trust, or feeling safe, or being vulnerable and authentic. That's what powerful communication is. Being able to listen is another part of powerful communication. And all those things would be correct. It's just, if you're in a position where you are triggered by something, it can make it challenging to get to that space where you're maintaining that trust, that respect, that authenticity, the vulnerability, where you feel safe enough to be vulnerable. So I want to go ahead and go deeper into this now. Okay, so you want to take a moment to, and I do want this to be interactive. So whether you're catching it live or you're catching it on the replay, you want to ask yourself this question, because you want to reflect on something real. So think about your own experiences in communication, particularly in the area of love. I want you to think about the most recent conversation you've had with a partner, with someone you're dating, with a husband, where you wanted to express something. Hi, Afghania. You wanted to express something important, but for some reason, you either felt like you had to hold back, you couldn't really say what you wanted to say, you didn't even know how to express what you wanted to say, or you recognized that you didn't communicate as clearly as you would like to. So if you can think about that experience, think about what stopped you. What stopped you from being able to communicate what you really felt? Again, a lot of the patterns and behaviors that we have brought into our adult relationships are coming from what we experienced, what we saw, what we felt, how we were spoken to, or how we observed others speaking to one another. So maybe what stopped you was the fear of saying the wrong thing. Maybe what stopped you was you're not used to saying what you want. You were told that you were too needy or too much, or whatever you created about not being able to say it because it could land as being selfish. I have a client that's one of her things, that when she used to say what she wanted, oh, stop being so selfish. And so that shut her down. And she is now learning how to express what she wants, not from a place of not being selfish or being selfish, but from a place of freedom. So you want to get connected with what is it that stops you from expressing what you want. Maybe you don't know how to say it, and your anger is so on the surface that you just say nothing so that you don't make things worse. You don't want to rock the boat. You want to shake things up. So once you get connected with that, and you can go ahead and type it in the chat. I want to see what it is for you. This training gets to be real, because communication is an essential skill. If you're not able to communicate in a relationship, you're going to experience drama, you're going to experience stress, you're going to experience disappointment of yourself, and then you're going to make yourself wrong, make your partner wrong, and all of that is going to create the opposite of what you want to experience in your love vision. So if you'd like to share what came up for you, you can go ahead and drop it in the chat. Remember, we're all here to learn from one another. There are no wrong answers. All right, so once you've discovered what it is that stops you, it keeps you, you can see that it's keeping you from, let's see, Okani says, I didn't hear, I had a bad connection. So yes, so no worries, Okania. You can go ahead and catch the replay. So I want to explore with you some techniques so that you can communicate your needs confidently. Now, remember, your needs are not a requirement of the other person. So you can't use the techniques that we use here at Heart's Desire to try and get somebody to do something. Because just in that wording, you can see that there's manipulation all over that. So it's not about getting somebody else to do something or change or be different. It's about you expressing clearly what it is that you need, want, feel, like, don't like, appreciate, don't appreciate, prefer, don't prefer. So why is this important? Because as a highly driven woman, you already know how to lead in your business. You already know how to lead in your career. You already know how to lead in life. We want to channel that leadership into your love life. And it's going to look different in your love life. And those of you who were at the Irresistible Woman Live just a couple of weekends ago, know that that feminine essence is so important for you to feel connected to yourself as a woman, but also so that you are showing up as the best version of yourself. Because what works well at work when you're directing and managing and in essence is controlling the outcomes of things, those skills don't transfer well in intimate relationships, because men don't like to be told what to do. High quality men want to be the leaders. They want to be leaders. They want to feel purposeful. They want to know that they can provide for you and protect you and please you. Those of you who were there at Irresistible Woman Live learned how to communicate from this place of inspiration rather than demanding. So, or inspiration rather than obligation. So some of the things that are really important when you're communicating this way is to use I statements. So you want to focus on yourself and what you feel, want, need, prefer. So instead of saying you made me feel, you would say I feel. And what that does is it makes the communication less accusatory. So there's going to be less defensiveness on the other side. And it's more focused on your perspective. So your perspective may not match the other person's perspective, or your experience may not be their experience, and it was your experience. So you're focusing and owning on your feelings, your state, your experience, what you want, etc. Now, if you're expressing what you need, it's very important to be clear and not vague. For example, you wouldn't say something like, I want things to be better. That's so vague. It could be left to interpretation. What's better? What things are you talking about? So what would be effective is to say, I would like to spend more time together. That would be a clear expression of what you want. And then if you're in person, it's important to maintain eye contact, because when you look away from someone and you're talking to them, it gives the impression that you're uncertain, that you're scared, or that you're not confident about what you're saying. So you want to maintain eye contact. You don't want to stare them down, but you do want to maintain eye contact. And if it's on the phone, you want to make sure you're managing your tone. So being able to manage your emotions, your state of being, your energy is very important. What that does is it signals to them, if your tone is open and you're maintaining eye contact, that you're confident about what you're saying. And it's also a way that you invite engagement, and it demonstrates that you're open to having a conversation, not just a monologue. All right, so think about one need that you want to express to either your boyfriend, your husband, your future partner, that was a need that didn't get met, and then write down how you could say it using the I statement, focusing on yourself. And if you feel open to sharing it, put it in the chats, because as we share, we learn together. All right. So that's using the I statement. It's communicating clearly your needs and wants, and then also creating openness by eye contact, tone of voice that demonstrates openness. All right. Now, what do you do in a moment where you are upset? Maybe something happened that you weren't expecting, or something that you were expecting didn't happen. You know, chances are your partner is going to disappoint you from time to time, and you're going to disappoint them from time to time. Why do I say that? Because none of us is perfect. None of us is perfect. So if you let go of the expectation of perfection, then what you are able to do is you're able to recognize that there are going to be those moments where things are not going to be exactly how you want them. So it could be that something happened that you weren't expecting, or something didn't happen that you were expecting, or somebody said something, your partner said something to you that you didn't appreciate, or maybe they were angry, they were having a hard day at work, and they come home and they snap. And then what's right there for you is, how dare he talk to me that way? Well, that reaction, whatever the reaction is, that is going to interrupt effective communication, powerful communication. So we all have conversations where emotions get triggered. So there's an emotional response that comes up. Managing your response and minimizing reactivity is the key to staying calm, and also to stay productive in the conversation. Because if both of you now are reacting to one another, there's no real communication happening. It's two people talking at each other. So here's a tool that can help if you experience something that triggers you. And I was just coaching somebody on this. Let's say, even if it's happening through text, you had a conversation, and now your boyfriend or husband or the guy you're dating doesn't call when he says he's going to call. Let's just say as an example. And now you're upset because you had something really important to talk about. And then when he does call, it's late, and he's got like a few minutes to talk to you when you have something important that you want to talk about. And you feel rushed off the phone and you feel like there's no time for you. So all these emotions can come up. I'm not important, or all these thoughts and emotions, I'm not important. And the moment you have the thought that you're not important, all of a sudden the feeling of not being good enough comes up. And when the feeling of not being good enough comes up, now there's this energy of feeling not important, not worthy. And when that comes up, all these other emotions start getting triggered. And now there's all these hormones surging through your body. Your heart rate's fast. You can't think straight. Your breathing is fast. And it's not a good thing. Like, it's just not a good situation. And if you speak from there, chances are there's going to be an argument or a fight. And that might sound very familiar. So then, Kanye says, I can relate. So what you can do to get yourself back into a state of being, an energy of calmness, is you're going to take a breath in for 4 seconds. So you breathe in, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 4 seconds and exhale. Now you could do that even if you're in front of somebody. You could do that even if you're in front of somebody. Now you don't want the exhale to be like, because then that's going to feel like you're in a frustrated sigh, and that may communicate frustration. It's also not going to lead you to powerful communication, not going to lead to intimacy and connection. So breathe in for 4 seconds. So let's practice that, okay? When you feel an emotion rising, and this takes emotional intelligence, you can't go unconscious in your life. People who go unconscious in their life end up having to apologize for a lot of things they didn't mean to say and do. So you want to hold yourself responsible and accountable for staying conscious, which means you're self-aware, which means you're observing yourself, you're noticing your energy, you're noticing how your heart rate, what you're feeling, what you're telling yourself. Very important. This is a skill we teach our clients in our programs. So let's say that just happened. All right. And all of a sudden he said something. You're going to breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds and exhale. And if you need to do that a few times, you do that. And what you're doing is you're regulating your thoughts, which will regulate your emotions, which will regulate your attitude and your beliefs, which will regulate your actions, which will have you create results that are aligned with what you're truly committed to versus being reactive. And then from there, you can communicate. I was really expecting to have a conversation about this. It's very important, this trip that's coming up, and that's really important to me because I have some questions I need clarified. And I felt at that moment like I was being rushed off the phone. How different is that? How different is that? Then you don't have time for me, or you're always in a rush, or I don't feel like a priority. So that's a simple technique that you can use. We call it the 4x4x4 technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds. So what do you all think about that? Do you think you can do that? Do you think you can incorporate the 4x4x4 technique? It's gonna be a game changer for you. Now, if you're doing that and you feel you can't regulate, notice what you're telling yourself. Because remember that your brain is always responding to what you're telling it. It can't tell the difference between, oh my God, he just completely disrespected me and he was in a hurry because he had to go to a meeting. Your brain can't tell the difference. It's only going to be able to tell the difference if you tell it it's different. All right. Yeah. So Connie says, yes, I'm going to incorporate 4x4x4. Awesome. Letty, are you doing it as well? I want to hear from you, ladies. This is your life. All right. Patrice. Awesome. Great. Look, sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest impact. And if you can practice that with your boss, you could practice that. If you're not in a relationship right now with your boss, with your mom, with your sister, I'm sure there are people in your life that will provide you with many opportunities to practice the 4x4x4 technique. Remember that the intention of that is for you to be able to maintain self-control, self-awareness. And so that you can maintain the focus on what it is you really want to communicate. If you get all emotional and reactive, you're going to take the focus off of what you're saying. All right, Teresa says, yes, I had to do those this week. Great. So keep practicing that. Little things make a big difference. Awesome. I love that you ladies are so engaged. All right, so now, one of the ultimate goals of powerful communication is to create connection. Another goal is, so it's not just to say what you need and what you want, but it's also to create connection, trust, and respect. Connection, trust, and respect in your relationships, while also staying true to yourself and your values. So in our work, we're always encouraging you to be clear on what you value and to live in alignment with that. What does that mean? A lot of people use the word alignment. It's an important word, because if you're saying that you want to experience peace in your relationship, yet you keep reacting to everything your partner's saying, it doesn't match. And so the energy of peace and the energy of reaction, they actually are opposites. And that's what creates friction, that what creates arguments, that what creates unnecessary stonewalling and all these things that really pull us apart. And I'll tell you, Gladys and I have said this before, and we said it on Irresistible Woman Life. Many people, their relationships end not because of some major thing like somebody cheating on them, although that does happen. It is the little things that happen every day that add up because you either don't have the skills to let things go or talk them through or work them out. And so this is a very important skill to have. So the goal, in addition to being able to express what you want, is to maintain the connection, the trust, and the respect in the relationship, which are important. Like trust and commitment are pillars of a relationship. Connection is important because it creates friendship and intimacy. And respect is needed so that you feel safe and your partner feels safe in the relationship. So you can see how important those things are. So you want to be able to communicate authentically, and you want to communicate what's true for you and from your values. So this is what makes you irresistible to men. This is what makes the communication skills we use. It has you be irresistible. It has to be inspiring. And it's also genuinely aligned with creating a relationship that has those three things. So if you want to build connection, trust, and respect, here's some things to keep in mind. One of them is that you want to be consistent with applying the skills that we're showing you. So you want to show up in a way of being that's consistent with what you want to create in the relationship. And you want to also communicate what you need consistently. Men are not mind readers. And one of the things that frustrates men the most, and I've heard this from so many men, in addition to being controlled, which, by the way, I was at an event this weekend, and two of the men said, I would rather live like alone in a closet than with someone who's complaining or criticizing me, or someone who's constantly being negative. So, word to the wise. The other thing that we hear from men is, if I don't understand why she just doesn't tell me what she wants, or it's the way that she tells me what she wants that makes me not want to do it. So you want to be consistent in how you show up, have the energy, that way of being, be consistent. If you want trust, be trusting. Promote trust in your way of being. You can't promote trust if you're attacking your partner or if you're constantly fighting with them. So be consistent. Stay true and aligned with your values. So know what it is that you stand for. Know what it is that matters to you, and communicate from your values. So if respect is one of your values, love is one of your values, honesty is one of your values, communicate consistently from there. And then stay clear and committed to your love vision. So what does that mean? Staying clear and committed. That means that if you're clear and committed to your love vision and your partner has a bad day, before you react, if you go and you look at that love vision, like what really matters to me is that both of us feels like we're hurt in the relationship. Okay, he said it loud, he said it in a way I didn't want to. If I yell back, is that actually going to have me being clear and living from my commitment of my love vision? It's not. So this is really important. I really believe this. Arnie has said this, and it's why this is the name of one of our programs. And he said this from the time we started dating. He said, extraordinary relationships don't just happen, they're created every day. They're created every day. And you create them in every moment. Whether you're together or apart, you are creating it by where you focus your thoughts, where you focus your emotions, where you focus your energy. And if your thoughts are on everything that he's doing wrong, are you really creating your love vision from a place of commitment to having that love vision? Or are you being committed to being right, making him wrong? Drama. What are you really committed to? So you want to be clear in that love vision, stay committed to it. And what that does is it puts you right at the source, right in the driver's seat of being in a state of being in energy that matches that commitment. And it's one of the, I'll tell you, it's one of the biggest game changers when it comes to the way that I show up in my relationship. When I am connected to what my love vision is, and I am being responsible for creating it every day, my relationship looks just like I want it to. And even on a bad day, like the other day, I forgot what it was. I love that I have this, and Arnie has this too. We're so committed to being happy with one another. When one of us apologizes, the other one lets it go. And sometimes I can't remember what exactly it was that happened, but I remember that, oh, we were at Thanksgiving. There it is. We were at Thanksgiving dinner, and it was getting late, and I wanted to go, and he didn't, and I said, I would love to go. I'm feeling tired. And he's like, oh, but we never get to be with everybody. And I was like, I hear you. And I'm really tired. And he said, oh, you'll be okay. And I was like, I know I'll be okay in my head. That's not the point. I wasn't getting what I wanted. And so I felt the emotion coming up for me. And I heard the thought. He doesn't care how I feel. The emotion is feeling not important. And now all of a sudden, if I keep going with that thought, what do you think is going to happen? The likelihood of Thanksgiving being ruined, me getting upset, being the silent treatment, all of that. I remember even giving him a look. He's like, are you staring me down? And I was like, whoa. I didn't realize I was doing that. So I got unconscious and got back to consciousness. And I remember sitting there and I could feel it coming up. And I said, you know what? What I'm really committed to is having a great Thanksgiving. It was the first Thanksgiving without my mom. So being in a state of peace and calm and gratitude was really important for me. And I really let it go at that moment. Now, do I do that every single time? No. It's when I'm committed and connected to my love vision. So that's why it's so important to do that. I got to know what I'm committed to in order to be able to create it. How many of you understand what I'm saying? Put me in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. This is very important. All right. So think about what's one core value that you have that's really important to you in your love vision. So what's one core value that you have that's really important in your love vision? And then I want you to think about how does that, oh, a lot of you are saying me, awesome. How does that value guide the way that you communicate? This is an important question to ask yourself. How does my top core value guide the way that I communicate? Not just with your partner, but we're talking about your partner, but you also want to make sure that your values are showing up everywhere in all of your communication. But let's talk about our love vision in our relationships. What is it that is your core value, and how does that guide the way that you communicate? Or maybe it hasn't been guiding the way that you communicate, and you're seeing because of this training that this would be something that would really make a difference for you. Yeah. So Teresa says one of her values is honesty. So she must be honest in order to be able to really expand on honesty showing up in her relationships. So Lisa says honesty too. What are some other values that you ladies have, and how does that guide you in your communication? So respect is one of mine. So I get to hold myself accountable, and it has me be empowered when I maintain my level of self-respect and respect for someone else, no matter how upset I am. All right, let's see. Honesty, respect. Okay, so Okanya, honesty, respect, trust, and acceptance, and connected. So pick one, and then how is that guiding you in your communication? Because you're in a relationship. You're in a relationship. So how does it guide you in the way that you communicate? Or maybe it's something you feel you need to work on. So pick the one you want to work on and let me know that. Communicate with kindness through love, Julie says. Thank you, Julie. Consistency. All right, ladies, you're answering one part. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm back in Irresistible Woman Live. How does that value guide your communication? How does being respectful, how does peace guide your communication? How does authenticity? Okay, Patrice says, got to keep it real, kindly. So she values authenticity, and she's going to do that in a kind way. Thank you, Patrice, for answering both questions. So it's really important that you all take the coaching. So it's not just knowing the value, because if you're not applying it, or it's not guiding your communication, then that right there is like, aha, I get to start doing that now. That's why communication isn't working right now. That's what I get to keep expanding on. Okay? So it's really important to have those values guide you. Now, before I get close to wrapping up, I do want to invite you again to put on your calendars that we're having our final masterclass of 2024 to create your love vision. Now, many of you have met Elena, you've met Rosalind, you met a lot of the ladies who are now in amazing marriages and relationships. And many of them came to the love vision. It's going to be a workshop. They came to the Love Vision Manifestation Workshop and created what their love vision was going to be the year that they met their partners and now husbands. It's a very powerful workshop. And even if you've been to it before, you're not the same place you were before. And this is not the same moment. So who you are right now is where you get to create from. What you're committed to right now is what you get to create from. So this is going to be, again, on Tuesday, December 17th at 7:00 p.m. Eastern. So if you're someone who knows you're coming to that, you're going to put that in your calendar and you're going to keep your eye out for the information we're going to be sending you. Go ahead and type vision in the comments so that Diane can go ahead and put you on the list. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about what you're going to experience at the Love Vision Manifestation Workshop. So this is a workshop. You're going to be doing some real work in this workshop. All right. So if you're someone who's not ready to date, if you're someone who being in a relationship next year really isn't a top priority for you, then this wouldn't be the workshop for you to come to, because this is a workshop for women who are powerful women and they want to create the relationship of their dreams in the upcoming year. You also want to experience a real transformation, personal transformation within yourself, because really it's about who you get to become in the process of creating this. That is the biggest gift of all. And if you're someone who you want to experience a transformation, you know that there's an opportunity for you to go to your next level and you want to be able to be supported through that, then this workshop would be for you. And if you don't want to wait another year for it to happen, and as you've heard us say many times, it can happen between 3 to 9 months, because the majority of the women who do their heart work, who do their work, they're in our programs, or they apply the work that we do, they're in the relationships of their dreams between 3 to 9 months. All right. And if you're somebody who values your time and you're tired of waiting and you don't want to spend it on trying the next, cute thing that shows up on Instagram, and you want coaching that will significantly speed up your results, then you want to make sure that you're there, because these are the same skills that we've used in empowering other women to be able to create the relationship of their dreams. You're going to be able to break through your limitations in thinking and acting and behaving, break through those self-sabotaging patterns that get in the way, and create a crystal clear vision. So crystal clear vision, what that allows you to do, and we talked about this a little earlier, is it has you be able to identify with certainty what it is that you want to experience. You can connect to the what it looks like, what it feels like. And we're going to do some work on getting super clear on what does respect look like for you? What does honesty look like for you? What does trust look like for you? And then you're going to be able to create a clear plan so that you can manifest that love vision in 2025. So those are just some of the things that you're going to be getting in this workshop. Okay, we're going to have some visualization exercises. It's experiential, so you'll be able to experience the transformation as you're in this event. All right, it's the same process I used to go from being frustrated, single, repeating the same patterns over and over again, to being able to really get clear on what is it that I want to experience and who do I get to become in order to create that in my love life. So you want to go ahead and type, okay, many of you wrote vision. Great job. All right, so we can put you on the list. Diane, make sure that you write those names down. And you can go ahead and keep an eye out. The information is going to be going out either at the end of this week, beginning of next week. Okay. So I hope that this training today has given you insights and practical tools so that you can master the skill of communicating from your feminine power, and to remind yourself that you don't have to settle or stay silent or make pretend or fake it till you make it or hold back in order to feel real connection, experience real trust and respect and powerful communication. All right. So this is, remember this Love Vision workshop is going to be the last one of 2024. So you want to make sure that you're there, create your love vision, make the upcoming year be the year where it really happens for you. Allow us to support you in that so you're not doing it by yourself. And we'll be sending you all the information you need to know on that, okay? All right, ladies. I want to thank you so much for being here today, for engaging, for participating the way that you have. We hope that you leave this training feeling empowered to use your voice in an effective way to create a communication that's powerful, to communicate with confidence. And if you want more support, make sure you continue to follow us here. If you have specific questions, you can type them here in the chat and we'll go ahead and answer them for you, okay? Here's to you, expressing yourself fully, completely, and femininely, and being able to communicate with power to create the loving connection and build meaningful relationships that you want to experience. We will be back here next Tuesday at 6:00 p.m. Eastern with Love to Chat with the Love Twins. And until our hearts meet again, always remember that you are loved. Goodbye for now. Mwah.